Okay, so I'll start from the beginning. Ped and I met in the 7th grade on the bus, which is pretty ironic because neither of us typically rode the bus. But we had a mutual friend that introduced us both, and he introduced me to Ped, and I said, "I'm Ryan," and I said, "Ped, do you like pranks?" And Ped, of course, said yes, and the way Ped told it at my wedding was, yes, like I like pranks, and he said we went and we lived happily ever after, and we did all these pranks on people. But really what I meant was, Ped, do you like pranks pulled on you? Sorry, you're just now finding this out, but. So I took this as an invitation to start pulling pranks on him. You have to remember that Ped used to be the size of my little sister. Real scrawny, no muscle. He looked a lot like Artie. Artie, if you can stand up so we can get like a comparison. Yeah, so that's kind of what Ped used to look like. So real just easy to mess with, a real easy target. I remember that Ped used to come over to my house and he'd hang out with me and Matt Gertis, who was my neighbor at the time, and Ped couldn't drive yet. I think he was probably 14, 15, I don't know. So Mrs. Parvin used to always come and have to pick him up, you remember, all the time. So I remember one of the things we liked to do to Ped when we found out like his mom's about to come pick him up, we'd throw him in the pool. So he'd be like, "Oh, my mom's gonna be here in 5 minutes." We're like, "Okay, you're going in the pool." Now that I think about it, it wasn't really a prank, it was just kind of messed up, but it was something we liked to do. He'd start crying and get all. And I think Mrs. Parvin was too nice to ever ask why he was always wet. Well, one day after we threw him in the pool, he got all dried off, and he started, stopped crying, and he said, "Can I come work out with you sometime?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. Why do you want to come work out?" He's like, "I'm getting kind of sick of getting thrown in the pool." I was like, "All right, yeah, I'm getting kind of sick of having a little wussy friend. So yeah, you can start working out with me." So I said the next day, me and my girlfriend at the time, and Mike, I think you were there, right? We went to the JCC, a Jewish Community Center, a Catholic and a Muslim. We worked out at the Jewish Community Center. And I said, "All right, let's get started on bench press." So I was like, I'll go first. I'll kind of show you what to do. So I put like 500 pounds on or something and did 10 or whatever. But I remember my girlfriend went next and she had two 10s on each side. So what's that, Ped? It's 85? 85. So she goes, she's like, "Oh, I'll warm up with this." She does, 10 or whatever. I was like, "Ped, why don't you start with this? Like, kind of get loose." And so he gets there, he grabs onto the, he lays down and grabs onto the pole with his little spaghetti arms. And I remember he goes down and he's like, "Help, help, 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 up. Like he couldn't get it up. And we made so much fun of him for that whole day, but then really for a while. And that was literally that was the last time I remember being stronger than Ped. He just, over the next several years, he just got massive, like we know how he is. So I'd like to take some credit for his massive biceps, sculpted chest, ripped abs, hard glutes. It's getting kind of hot in here. All right. Over the next several years, I started realizing that I couldn't, really play pranks on him. We had to work together. That's when we became a team. This is when we really started becoming close, hanging out literally every day, blowing up watermelons with cherry bombs in the backyard with Scott and Andrew. The grass still doesn't grow there, my dad says all the time. But we became pretty much inseparable. That's about the time Ped got me drunk for the first time. Really, really drunk. I don't have time to go into that, but Let's see, where was I? So that same girlfriend that was stronger than Ped, she actually broke up with me because she said I hung out with Ped too much. That's actually what she told me. She said, you guys hang out too much and you play too much Halo. Yeah, she wasn't wrong. Turns out Ped was never really the best wingman. I think he always kind of wanted me for himself. He actually ruined my next relationship too. I started dating this other girl who spoke Farsi, and Ped says, I got some things in Farsi I can teach you. You can tell her mom. You know, it's really good. The first time you meet, Mina's like, don't even say this. So he's like, you got to tell her, this means it's so nice to meet you. It's really nice to meet you. Man mohon bahut bekhavem, right? Is that right? They're laughing. But he's like, you can't mess this up. It means so nice to meet you, really nice to meet you. Man mahon bahut bekhavem. What does not mean so nice to meet you? It means I want to sleep with you. Man mahon bahut bekhavem. I'll never forget it. He made me practice. It means I want to sleep with you. Ped also introduced me to Persian Room. It's there he taught me how to say thank you in Farsi, chos. That means fart, apparently, not thank you. So literally every time the waiter filled up my drink, I'd say, chos, fart, chos. Does Khodafas really mean bye? Does it mean bye? Because I say that all the time. What's Khodafas mean? Okay, that one's actually bye. All right, I'm gonna kind of get caught up here. So needless to say, that relationship didn't last too long, and Ped managed to have me all to himself again. Luckily, a couple years later, that led me to my wife, Ashley. She handles Ped and my relationship pretty well, although I definitely know it's tough at times, especially because Ped and I have this thing that we spend every Valentine's Day together. So it's been a little weird. We have to start inviting the girls. I think they have fun. I'm kind of hoping this, I don't know. I think we should still do Valentine's Day together, but I guess that's your call. Although I joke about it, it's always really been nice having Ped around. He lived with me and my sisters in college. After college, on Jackrabbit with Nick and Andrew. Now he's my neighbor, so we can't really stand being away from each other, I guess, as you can tell. He's literally been my friend through middle school, high school. He was my target for pranks. He was my coworker at Target. One year he was my homecoming date. He's been my roommate, my Halo teammate, my AJ's iced tea mate. Yep. He's my hunting buddy, my designated driver, my best man, and the brother I never had. In a lot of ways, I think he was maybe the brother my sisters never had, too. The nice one. He'd always remind me when it was their birthday, and then he'd go shopping with me to get a gift for them. We've spent a lot of time in Bed Bath & Beyond, Bath & Body Works. The guy knows how to pick out his perfume. Like, he always smells good. Have you ever noticed that, you always get a birthday text from Ped? Like, when it's your birthday? Everyone here. And then you probably get one for me 5 minutes later. That's because he tells me it's your birthday. So I follow up with the text right after or whatever. That's just, the kind of guy he is. He's always thinking about others. Comes from two great parents. As Jason mentioned, he would literally give the shirt off his back for anyone. And the thing I love about him is he doesn't ever, sorry. He doesn't ever expect anything in return. Now, I have some more stuff, but I'm just going to move on. All right. So when I first started writing this speech like 10 years ago, there was one variable, one unknown, Darl. And I know it's not my job to talk about Darl, but I have a few things to say, besides the fact that you look beautiful tonight. I was hoping I'd get a cheer or something like that. Okay, good. So Ped and Darl met, as Ped would say, the old-fashioned way, on a dating app, as Jal told us. I remember he was hanging out with her a few times, and I said, I don't even want to meet her until like you're serious about her. Like, I was like, he always brings weird. I was like, just introduce me like when you're serious about her. So I remember one night I was driving home from Tucson, and it was like 11 p.m. and I had this giant taxidermy elk in my trailer. And I asked if he could come over and help me hang it. It's like 11 o'clock at night, and he said, yeah, but I want to bring Darl over so you can meet her. I wasn't really in the mood for that, but I knew if he was bringing her around, she was something special. So they come over and knock on the door, and before I can even open the door all the way, I just see this arm stick out, and she goes, Darl. You know how she like introduces herself like all proper, and she goes, Darl. She got a pack of high chews in her other hand. And I remember she totally caught me by surprise. I remember her and Ashley were giving Ped and I crap about the ridiculous places we wanted to hang this elk, and I distinctly remember, and I'm not just saying this, I remember it just felt natural hanging out with her. That's the best way I can describe it. I remember thinking that she was different than the others. I'm almost done. This is my last pitch. Over the next year or so, I really got to know Darl, and the thing I liked most about her is that she was a nurse. I knew this meant that she would be able to take care of Pedram, and I wouldn't have to anymore. The more I got to know Darl, it was pretty easy to see why Ped had fallen in love with her. However, there's one thing I wanted to discuss. And this kind of, got me thinking, like the last weekend, Jim and I were trying to go hunting, and we asked Ped if he wanted to come, and he said, no, I need to do stuff with Darl, I need to do wedding stuff, and Darl. So, Jal, I got a gift for Darl if you want to bring that up. Oh, boy. So Jal, if we can give Jal a round of applause, he did a great job today. So Jal is my brother-in-law. So my sister got this for her wedding, and Ashley got this for our wedding. So I thought I'd give it to Darl as well. Yeah, so it's a little plaque, and it says, we interrupt this marriage for hunting season. So Jal has this at his house, I have it at my house. So just so we get this kind of out there now, there's some things that are important. I guess I'll just say, are important. Okay, so to wrap this up, I'm only in my 4th year of marriage, so I might not have the best advice. But one piece of advice Ashley and I want to share with you is pretty simple. It's don't sweat the small stuff and make time for the things that matter most to you. We think that's really important. So here's a toast. Darl, I cannot think of a better guy for you. I'm so glad Ped met you. I'm glad I met you. As Ped taught me, man mohon bahut bekhabem, that means it's so nice to meet you. Ped, Chos for letting me give this speech. Chos, honestly. Thanks for always being there for me, encouraging me, and supporting me through life. I know you'll do the same for Darrell. I love you both. Cheers.